So guys, we're basically just gonna go over The Shining book versus movie. I'm gonna say what I like better about the book and what I like better about the movie. You can see I have the book right here, which is a really good book. I have a Danny Torrance Funko Pop. This is a really neat one. This is like the first Funko Pop I've seen that has like the design on the box. You can see it says the famous phrase, red rum. You have like a bit of blood splatter there. You can also get Jack and Wendy. So we are gonna officially start now, and I'm just gonna say what I like better about each of the things. The book and the movie are a lot different, and a lot of people may not even know that is a book. I know there's quite a few people who don't know. It's a book, of course, by Stephen King. Very, very good author. And it's a decently long book. It's about 600 pages. And it basically just details, just like the movie, Jack Torrance losing his job at a prep school because he had a fight with a student and going to the Overlook Hotel. In the movie, they don't really mention that, and they don't really go deep into his backstory, which is something I don't like too much, because I like people to know, like, what is going on with him, why he has to take this job out in the middle of nowhere. And you don't get to see that. And Jack Torrance, really, in the book, you can see he's a good man deep down inside. And in the movie, they don't detail into that, because they just show basically right when the hotel, which the hotel basically just influences him. That's one thing I don't like. And stuff they did with the characters in the movie, at least, I don't like. I don't like some of the stuff they did with Jack. I don't like what they did with Wendy. In the book, Wendy's a really good character. She's not scared of like everything. She's not like she's not like as stupid as she is in the movie. And they really kind of like just made the character a lot different. And in the book, Danny is a lot he's supposed to be very smart for his age, and the psychic powers are a lot more in depth in the book. And Tony is kind of more of an actual entity in the book. At the end, he reveals it's like a future self of Danny, and I like that. Tony comes in dreams, where he just does that weird little finger talking thing when representing Tony. But of course, there is stuff I like that I like in the movie a bit better. The one thing I like, it's a book, you have to imagine something in your mind, but I really do like the scenes with the New Year's Eve, the reminiscent New Year's Eve party. I really like that, because it's a really neat scene. It's very glamorous, and while I can imagine things in the book, that's just a very neat thing, just to be able to see that. And I do love the scene in the book too, and I basically just like that scene. I can't actually honestly say if the book and the movie, that scene, it's just an equal thing. I do like, even though in the book the hotel burns down and Jack isn't like stuck there together forever, I don't want him stuck there forever, but I do like where they do at the end, where they do that shot where it's like kind of like that one camera view where they're just walking through the hall and you go up to the picture and Jack is there in the front. You can see, I really like that. I probably like this ending better, but still, I really just, that scene, I love scenes like that. The one thing that I just despise about the movie is how they kill Dick Hallorann. Dick Hallorann's a really awesome character, and he actually, in the It book, he used to work at an establishment in Derry. And so it's very interesting to see how all the Stephen King books are connected. I really like the character of Dick Hallorann, and I can't believe they killed him in the movie. And another little fun fact, for those of you who do not know, the phrase "Here's Johnny" actually comes from the announcement phrase from the Johnny Carson show, the Tonight Show before Jay Leno, where Ed McMahon would say, "Here's Johnny," and so that's where it comes from. So a lot of people, they just think it's from The Shining, but it's actually from the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson. So I don't like how they killed Dick Hallorann. And another thing is, in the book, there's these, instead of the hedge maze, there's the hedge animals, and they're pretty creepy. I don't really know how they put that in a movie at the same time, so I can't be too mad about it, but they're pretty interesting. They attack people, and it kind of gives it a more, like, I don't know, a supernatural, more supernatural feel to it. And the book, another thing, is a lot scarier than the movie. In the book, you have a lot more interactions with the actual ghost of the Overlook. The movie does have its scary parts, so like the woman in the bathroom in the room, and that's pretty freaky. Another thing they changed is the room 217. In the book, the room is 217 because that's the room Stephen King stayed at the Stanley Hotel, which the Overlook is based on. In the movie, I believe it's 237. So they changed that because the Stanley Hotel did not want people to not want to book that room. But in my opinion, that would make more people want to book that room. So that, you know, it's not a big change, but it's interesting. In the book, there's that bear, the guy in the bear suit is a dog, and he's a lot creepier. Like in the book, that's another thing that's a lot creepier. And just everything is a lot more creepier in the book. And in one of the biggest changes in the book from the movie, in the book, probably like the mascots besides Jack Torrance, the two Grady twins, they're mentioned in the book, but they're not actually like they're not talking to Danny. They mentioned that's one of the big things. I was surprised because I read the book first, but for all these years I always see this image of these two twins, and that's what I think of when I see The Shining. When I read the book, I was like, they're not in here. So that's interesting. They're creepy, you know, and but they're not in the book. That's one thing. And overall, I like the book better. You know, the book, it goes in more depth into character. Jack isn't completely crazy because you get to see his background. Danny is a better character. Danny is a really likable character because Danny is I think he's like 5 or 4, and he's like an adult. He's really likable. Wendy is really likable in the book too. In the movie, they made her very, very unlikable. She's just like there to like, in the movie, honestly, she's just kind of dumb. She's just screaming and all that. So I like the book better, but the movie is good by itself. It's a good movie by itself. All these years, I didn't know a lot about The Shining. I knew the twins, I knew they were there, and I knew it was supposed to be a really scary movie. So I started getting into Stephen King after really loving it, so I started reading the books, and I was like, I'm going to read this one first because I was able to find this one. And I did not watch the movie. After I read this, I watched the movie. And honestly, I was very disappointed by the overall scare factor of the movie. Because all these years I hear about this movie, I think this is going to be like the most terrifying movie I've ever seen. And it wasn't. It wasn't the most terrifying movie I've ever seen. It was simple. Not simple. It was just like, it's not that scary. Because Jack is supposed to be the main antagonist, and he's not that scary. The idea is just scary that your own dad is trying to kill you. I really do like both the things about the movie, The Shining. I like how, you know, it's a good story between good versus evil. That's all the Stephen King stories. They're horror, but they're always about good versus evil. They usually always have a good ending. And before we get to the end, I'll give you another fun fact. In Stephen King's book, actually novella collection, Different Seasons, which has The Body, which is Stand By Me. I love that movie. I love the book. They have Shawshank Redemption, a very famous movie, and they have one called Apt Pupil. And it's widely rumored because of the characters and the kind of thing. This is a very scary story. There's no supernatural elements, but it's just freaky. And it's rumored that was Jack Torrance's story. I think that was really neat. It also has another story called The Breathing Method, which is probably the weakest of them all. But that's a really neat theory. And well, Stephen King himself he basically hates The Shining movie. He doesn't like what Stanley Kubrick did with it. You know, I can understand because Stephen King was saying this book is very autobiographical, and he didn't like the portrayals because I guess he considers Jack kind of a portrayal of himself and Wendy kind of a portrayal of his wife. So I can see where he's coming from. But Stanley Kubrick directed a lot of good movies. Dr. Strangelove, that's a very, very interesting movie starring Peter Sellers, one of my favorite comedians. It's very interesting. Famous movie of his, A Clockwork Orange. He directed a lot of stuff. This movie at the time wasn't very well received, but later on it became more well received. So all in all, I say The Shining book is better. It's a very good book. But still, watch the movie. It's a good movie. It's something you need to watch if you're really into horror. That's one of the more like not classic. It's one of the ones you have to watch. Like, it's not a classic movie. It's not very old. It's not like Frankenstein or The Mummy or Dracula. But it's a classic horror movie in a way. And you should watch it if you're a horror fan. And you should definitely read the book. And that's basically it, guys. I'm glad I'm able to talk about The Shining because it's a really good book. It's a good movie too. And I hope you guys had a nice time enjoying this video. I hope you liked that I took the time to dress up as Jack Torrance and got an axe. And that's a wrap.